Chapter 8, Draw Commands 1. Hi, Joe Cerrone. Today we're going to take a look at the textbook readings from Chapter 8 from AutoCAD Instructor, Draw Commands. And we're going to look at know where to locate and how to invoke draw commands, be able to draw lines, circles, arcs, points, and polylines. So as we look at the concepts for this chapter, we're looking at these different draw commands, and they're located on the toolbar or the ribbon, and you can see we have line, polyline, circle, arc, and whenever you see these little triangles, that means there's more commands available underneath those. And so for like the rectangle command, you'd see a polygon command. And so if we were to take a look at some of our draw commands, we have our draw commands located right here, and then we can pin that open if we need to. You can also get draw commands from the menu bar, from the AutoCAD menu bar, and so we like to use the AutoCAD menu bar by invoking it right here, having the menu bar on, and then you can have these different draw commands available as well under the draw menu. Continuing. Coordinate entry methods, and so you can use the mouse by just clicking with the left mouse button. Dynamic input, that's where the input values follow the cursor, and then command line input, which is at the command line, and then they give you examples of how to use the line command from the ribbon, the menu bar. You could type in the word line, you could type in L. And so it's all different ways to do the same thing. So if we look at the menu here, and if we wanted to draw a line, we could go to the line command right here, and we'd be able to draw lines if we were to draw something in model space. We could invoke the line command and draw these lines, and as we draw these lines, so you can see that I have my polar tracking enabled, which will allow me to give a direct distance command like 15 and enter, and then that would be 15 units in length. You could also use the command prompt where you type in L, and then it'll give you all the commands that begin with L. Okay, we can see the line command is right there, and then we could pick up that line command from there and continue working with it. And so there's a number of different ways to input the line command. Typically we'll use the buttons on the ribbon and just use the icons when we start off with. And then as we start to work with these different lines, they're showing different coordinate systems, and so you can use the mouse and a grid and just click. You could use absolute coordinates. This would be 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, or you could use relative polar coordinates where you could start with an absolute coordinate 2, 3, and then you could say at 1 angle 0, and it'll draw a line like that. And then you could say at 1 angle 90, at 1.414 angle 485, and it'll draw that line. Circle, again, just different ways to access the circle command. You can access it from the ribbon, from the menu bar. You could type in circle, you could type in C, and then it shows different ways to draw circles with a radius, okay, which would be from the center to the outside edge. With the diameter, you have to extend the second point a little bit farther. 2 points would be a 2-point circle. 3-point circle. Tangent, tangent, radius would be a tangency, tangency point, and a radius, similar to how we did the O-snap. Arcs, you can create arcs in a number of different ways. So we have a 3-point arc, start, center, end, start, center, angle. And so as we work with these different arc commands, you can go and you can choose them. So if I said start, center, end, I could say start, center, and end. Start, center, and end. It likes to draw counterclockwise. And then just more of the same, different ways to draw arcs and angles. Oftentimes they'll say, do you use circles or arcs? And oftentimes what we'll do is we'll draw a circle and then we'll trim it afterwards by trimming it or cutting it in half. Points allow us to use the point command and it'll draw these little points. You do need to set up the point type, which is available under settings. And so when we work with points, we would work with these points right here. Here's the point command. But by default, they're just these tiny, they're about the size of a pixel. You can't really see them. So if you go to point style, you can then set a point style. I usually set them in absolute units, let's say 0.125, and then you can actually see the points as I draw them, or as I select where they would go. Continuing. Polylines are excellent ways to create geometry that's going to be used for 3D modeling. And so polylines will allow you to draw a line that's consisting of more than one line element. And so 2 lines in one arc, and that would be one polyline or one shape. And so as we work with polylines, we have the ability to do things like to give them a width, create these different geometries that are one continuous shape, and then we have some of these different options within the polyline command, and then we have these different chapter exercises. If we look at the D2L and we look at our polylines exercise, we have this polyline drawing right here, and so you can download the polyline drawing by clicking on it and opening it. And so we've given you the drawing, and what we want you to do is to reproduce the drawing itself. And so here's an example of a polyline right here of this cross shape. And then if I go to my tools in my drafting settings, I can turn on my snap, and I can turn on my grid, and I can OK that. Now you can see that there's that. And then when I draw a polyline, what we'll have you do is to draw a polyline I'm going to type C for close here. And now that is one continuous shape. And it's great because you can analyze polylines for things like areas, and so we can go to utilities under measure and we can say area, and we can say object, and we could select that, and then it will give us the area of that polyline along with the perimeter. So polylines are great for things like that. Other things that you can do with polylines are to do things like three-dimensional drawing. And so if I was to go to an isometric view, and then once I have a polyline, I can do something like turn on a toolbar for modeling, or we can just switch over to a modeling workspace. 3D basics. And we could do something like extrude. So we could extrude a polygon shape, and it will extrude that shape for us to see it. And same with these other ones where we could extrude this shape. Shift middle mouse wheel. And then we have like volume that we can actually analyze and create different Boolean operations with them. So polygons are really quite powerful when we get down to working with 2D and 3D type work. Back to drafting and annotation, back to our 2D view, go to a top view. So we'll create these different polygon geometries in this exercise, and there is videos on how to do that. And so we have a polygon video that's located right here. You can select it. Joe Cerrone. Today we're going to take a look at, and we go through and show how to create these different polygon geometries for our example in general design work. And so you'll create these different polygon geometries, save the file, and turn that into D2L as your general design drawing assignment. Alrighty. So that completes this exercise video on draw commands and the polygon command.